I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that. And
Stands no chance. But then I watched it the next month. I was like, he actually did way better than I thought he would have did. But people forget Jake Paul, rostered Ohio State roster, so he's tough. He's not as good boxer, as good skill, but he's tough.
Jake Paul beat Anthony Joshua. That's insane. That's not real. That's not real in any facet. There was never a chance. There's never a chance.
Canelo Álvarez openly humiliated Jake Paul following his fight with Anthony Joshua, saying he should stop pretending to be a real boxer. He mocked Jake for stepping into a world far beyond his skill level, insisting he stick to what he truly is rather than imitating professional fighters. Canelo made it clear that Jake's attempts in boxing were laughable and that he shouldn't act like someone he clearly is not.
everybody make a mistakes, right? But you need to do your best or do what you do, not try to be something else. Just do your best as a person. Sometimes it's enough. Sometimes for people it's not. It's dumb.
Dillian White admits that Jake Paul stood no real chance against Anthony Joshua, yet even he was surprised by how long Jake lasted. Paul showed toughness, likely drawn from his wrestling background, surviving by playing it safe rather than trying to win. Still, White stresses this is where it should end. Taking repeated heavy shots, suffering broken jaws, and facing brutal mismatches is too dangerous. It's neither sustainable nor smart. Even White notes that if he faced Jake, it wouldn't last long. While Paul proved he's tough, continuing down this path only risks serious, lasting damage.
Stands no chance. But then I watched it the next month. I was like, he actually did way better than I thought he would have did. But people forget Jake Paul rostered Ohio State roster, so he's tough. He's not as good boxer, as good skill, but he's tough. Wrestling is a very competitive sport in America, and to be a Ohio State wrestling level, you have to be they're physically tough and physically strong. So yeah, he was tough. That's why he survived in there. He did what he had to do in there. He got tagged with a few shots, and he did extremely well. AJ did poor.
In those situations where the fighter is that negative and had those kind of tactics, he went to ground a few times, etc. I don't think people quite understand it. It doesn't matter who you are; it's quite difficult. People expect AJ within 20 seconds to literally, with the first punch thrown or the first jab thrown, just to knock him out. It's not that easy, is it? When a fighter is kind of going in there to just survive.
It's always easier to beat someone that's coming to win than someone that's in there to survive. But they should have known that. They should have known that Jake Paul is never going to come to win. But it's just mad that AJ couldn't cut the ring off. He just made him run. He couldn't cut the ring off and hit with punches, and he was swinging and missing a few times. And obviously Jake Paul was hitting with a few punches. I was like, I was surprised that and I was surprised that it took so much runs to get him out of there. And then when he did knock him out, he didn't knock him out. He broke his jaw and stuff, but Jake was alright. He just sort of just got up and just said, my jaw is broken. He didn't get sparked. I was kind of surprised. I was very surprised. Because that right hand was a big one. I thought, damn, okay. He took it and got up. So maybe Jake is a physically tougher and stronger person than people think he is.
I'm assuming you don't blame Joshua for the money being talked about, 40, 50 million for doing that. No.
No. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. I'll fight Jake Paul next if he wants it. I'll take that. But I'll go after him, though. I'll tell you what, I'll definitely put him away 1 or 2 rounds. No way he's getting past that. Because that's like, that's such a big moral victory for Jake, saying that he wins so much rounds than Anthony Joshua.
Canelo Álvarez recently acknowledged that Jake Paul has shown real improvement in the ring. From better technique and sharper timing to increased resilience, Canelo noted that Jake's progress is hard to ignore. His determination, he said, is genuinely commendable. But despite these gains, Canelo was clear, it's time for Jake to step away. He's already taken on more than he should, facing opponents far beyond his experience level and putting himself at serious risk of injury. Continuing down this path isn't wise, Canelo warned. He's done enough to prove himself. Now's the moment to walk away while he still can. Canelo has long been vocal about Jake Paul's choice of opponents, often pointing out that Jake tends to fight retired or non-competitive fighters rather than seasoned professionals. His comments highlight a common perception. Jake's matches are more about spectacle than legitimate competition. When asked, jokingly, whether he would ever consider a fight with Jake, Canelo responded with his signature humor. He suggested the only conceivable scenario might be when Jake turns 50, a tongue-in-cheek remark that underscores the gulf between mainstream champions and celebrity-driven matchups, all while keeping the tone playful yet pointed.
I hope he improved more and he do a really good job. Believe I say this and serious. I hope he doing really good job and improve in boxing and it's fine.
Would you ever entertain a Jake Paul fight?
Not right now. Let's see later when I have like a 50 years old.
Brendan Schaub makes it clear. The idea of Jake Paul defeating Anthony Joshua is pure fantasy. While Jake has shown surprising power for a fighter around 200 pounds, his skills still fall far short of elite heavyweight standards. The gap is massive. Experience, technique, and physical conditioning all heavily favor someone like Joshua. No amount of hype, social media buzz, or viral attention can close that divide. Schaub emphasizes that while Jake's heart and determination inside the ring are admirable, the reality is undeniable. He's outmatched. The notion that he could compete at the highest levels of professional boxing is simply unrealistic. It's a stark reminder of the difference between internet fame and true boxing excellence.
Paul beat Anthony Joshua. That's insane. That's not real. That's not real in any facet. There was never a chance. There's never a chance. And the Jake Paul fans, and I was getting this a ton from DMs and comments going, well, everyone has a puncher's chance. That's an uneducated opinion. A puncher's chance, yes. If they're in a bar and Anthony Joshua's there at the pub and Jake Paul were to sneak up behind him and hit him in the back of the head or, in the side or something, maybe, even then, he's a little light in the ass, but maybe that's a puncher's chance. In a professional bout where a professional fighter at the level of Anthony Joshua is at, and he is going into a ring knowing and expecting to get hit, there is no puncher's chance when there's that much discrepancy in talent level. There's not, especially when the size difference. And some of you will say, Jake Paul hits hard. To you, yes, to you. But also, Jake Paul hits hard for a 200-pound man. He wouldn't even measure in the top 1,000 professional heavyweight boxers in the world as far as the strength knockout meter, if there is such a thing. It's not possible. So a lot of you were tuning in for saying, well, he has a puncher's chance. That's not real. That doesn't exist here. And now they could do this, but I don't think it's going to get the same amount of views, but it would set expectations. If, when this fight was announced, Jake Paul's team said, hey, we're fighting Anthony Joshua. Who thinks we can last 8 rounds? Who thinks we can go all 8 rounds? Who thinks Jake Paul can go 8 rounds and not get knocked?
Adam Booth offers a candid take on Jake Paul's performance, noting a surprising accomplishment. He was able to make Anthony Joshua miss several times, a remarkable feat given the enormous experience gap. Booth points out that Jake's footwork, movement, and ring positioning have clearly improved, demonstrating a level of discipline not always visible in his earlier fights. This tactical awareness forced Joshua to pause and readjust, preventing him from landing clean, continuous shots. While Jake is still far from elite professional standards, Booth emphasizes that these moments reveal genuine progress. With smarter movement and patience, Jake has shown that he can push even top-tier opponents to work harder than expected, a glimpse of potential that cannot be ignored.